what I'm going to do is show people a Wacom Cintiq tablet and how to use that as an output source. Basically, it's recognized as another monitor. So what you do is you go through the steps of setting that up, and what will happen is you'll get it from IT, and I'll be able to bring it over, plug it in, and you've got a couple of cables that go in. You have an HDMI and you have a USB where it gets its power and its controls from, and then you'll just plug that into the back of the Cintiq. Once you've done that, what's going to happen is that that Cintiq is going to be viewed as another monitor. So I'm going to come over here and turn that on. And now once it's on, it will show up as a monitor here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to display settings, and I'm going to make sure that I see all three. So what one does is they hit identify. Then I've got 3 monitors set up here. So I have one that shows up on this side with the number 1 that shows up. Then on the other side it says number 2, and then I have one that is just down from the main monitor that which I'm looking, that you're seeing right now, and then that is this monitor. And what will happen is every time I use this monitor, monitor number 3, then I'll be able to use the pen function. So let's show you how that we're going to do. So setting that up is pretty easy. And by the way, if you don't know how to do this, if you just drop and drag these wherever you would like, it makes more sense because this monitor is actually below the monitor at which I'm looking. Then I'll do that. I'll hit apply. Okay, so that makes complete sense. I'm 100%. I'm ready to go. Now I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on collaborate. Okay, so I have a Collaborate session opened up. At this point in time, I'm not using my camera or the microphone through Collaborate since I'm recording this for this tutorial. And then what I'll do after I get my camera and my mic on so the students can see me, I'll come over here and I'm going to share an application, and I'm going to share a screen. And the screen that I'm going to choose is not 1, 2, but 3. Screen 3 is my Wacom tablet. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to say that I want to share that. What's going to happen is the Wacom tablet is going to show up right here, and there it is. Okay, so the class is seeing this. Now the class could click to see my face where I'm sharing camera here, and they can click back and forth to see the Wacom tablet and that. Now what I can now do is I can use the whiteboard on this, or I can use a separate whiteboard. I will show you really quickly both of those. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I can come over here and I can share the whiteboard, but I can move this down to the Wacom tablet. Okay, so now I'm actually recording the third screen, the one that is the Wacom tablet. And what I can do if I'm going to do this with my class is I can say that I just want to share the whiteboard, and I just want to share the whiteboard itself, but the whiteboard now is resident on the tablet. But I've got this whiteboard up here. Now what I can do is I can just take the tablet ink out, and I can say that I want to have the ink live, and then I want to have then I can write right on that. Now this is really nice if I'm doing some kind of chemistry, and I've got to indicate what this is. And this pen is just terrific for this. I can also change colors, obviously, and I can clear it and do the next thing. Okay, that said, let me show you, on the other hand, if I chose to use the whiteboard through Microsoft. Now what I've done is I've moved the Collaborate to the main monitor, not the Wacom tablet, and then I'm going to I can stop sharing this screen. And then I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and I want to share a different screen. I want to share the Wacom screen, which is now below. So now if I hit share screen, now once again, my face, the students will be able to see my face because it's in the camera on this, and they'll be able to click to that, to whatever I happen to be sharing. So I'm going to now share screen 3. And now on this, in about 3 seconds, it'll show up on this that I'm sharing this lower screen with the class. I can also be looking at my attendees. Okay, so now I'm looking at the different kind of whiteboard. I'll come over here and I'll say I want to create a new one. And let me show you how nicely this works with this particular pen. It'll open up and I want to have it be this wide. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say that I would like it to ink to shape. So if I get it pretty closely, if I'm drawing a square, for instance, it will automatically straighten that up. One way or the other, if I'm doing math, you can see how that goes. If I shut off that, I come over here, and I can use these other features. And the nice thing with this is I can come over here to where I have that, and I can export it as a PNG. And the nicest thing about this now is I'm sharing the Collaborate, and the students can see me, but they also can see whatever it is I'm drawing on here if there's some value in doing this, which is a whole lot better than basically having to use your mouse to do these same features. It turns out that I can actually draw, I can write, and it comes out really well. Anyway, so that's the advantage in using this whiteboard. Thank you so much and have a good day.